Hello and welcome back to episode 2 of Naval Ops Commander. I almost forgot for a second what game I was playing there. Last time we did the sort of intro mission. We did the first mission and we looked at some of the things and did some research. Now we are going to go design our first ship. The first thing I want to do is go take a look at the new hull. I don't know how expensive it is. Oh, 500. Easy. Super cheap. Alright, so this is where only being able to, or having to have one ship built at a time is stupid. Because what I'd like to do is scrap this ship, use all the parts and everything off of it, build a second ship using the hull I just got, which was better. But we can't do that. So, I need to go back to the depot. How much money do I have left? You know what? 500 bucks is super cheap. We'll make so much more money than that later. Let's just go and redesign our first destroyer. We had a few hundred tons left on it where we could add stuff, and yes, you heard that right, tons. Ships are measured, or ship weight or displacement is measured in tons. So we can do some work. Alright, first thing I want to do is I want to strip all the weapons. And that stuff's fine. Alright, let's take a look at what we got to purchase. Want better weapons and better machine guns. Alright, so this is what we've already got. 5 guns is fine, that might even be more than I actually use. Alright, dump both these torpedoes, don't need them. Buy some new ones. These machine guns. I like to go with 8 machine guns of whatever type they are on a ship to get really good coverage. And obviously we don't have any such stuff. Let's see, you can use 2 turbines on a destroyer. 2 turbines. I'll buy 2 more boilers to see if I can stick them on there and add some more speed. Alright, so welcome to the shipbuilding system. I'm going to strip away all this stuff. You know, I could just went to equipment and hit remove all. Silly me. So normally when you come in here, unless you've got a pre-built ship, this is what you've got. So now you'll notice, even though all of the stuff is gone, I still have 740 tons worth of weight. That's the hull itself, which kind of sucks, but hey, that's what we've got to work with. So the first thing you want to do, or the first thing that I always do, is add engines first. Actually, for this ship, because of this little lip here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the forward bridge first to see how much room I've got. Because guns stick down into the hull of the ship, and you obviously can't have guns touching your engines. So, place that way I can place the engine as far forward as I can, or in this case, the boiler. 3, 4, 5. Alright, now I need my 2 turbines. Oh my, that's nearly all of our weight right there. Alright. Let's see what we can do with that. Even though the early game weapons are weak, they are light. And let's drop the armor a bit. Destroyers have so little survivability anyways, you don't need very much armor. You want more speed. Right, we're going to place the aft bridge back over the turbine. Now we need the smokestacks. So these are mostly just for looks. I mean, you can see there it says purgeability and weight, but there's no difference between, for example, this one and this one, except for the way they look. On pre-built ships, they can mix smokestacks, but when you do it yourself, you cannot. So We'll just go with 2 of these. I have 4 boilers, so that means I need a smoke purgeability of 4. And then searchlights. We'll cram all of the searchlights. You want as many as possible. Whoops. You want as many searchlights as possible as you can to maximize your visibility at night. And searchlights don't don't weigh very much. Oh, you silly thing. Alright, I'll do it this way. It's getting finicky. Searchlights don't weigh very much, so you might as well put your ship's maximum, which on destroyers is 4. Alright, so now we want to place armaments. We're going to go with guns. If I had different calibers of the same gun, I could switch back and forth from them up here at the top. You decide on your caliber, and then you go down and you can choose barrels. So multiple barrels for guns increase their attack power, but it also increases their weight. Well, it increases attack power and ammo, but it increases their weight. However, if you use less barrels, you have a tighter grouping of shots. So you kind of have to choose. On destroyers, like I said, your primary weapon is your primary weapons are your torpedoes. So single barrel is just fine. You can adjust weapons heights and the direction at which they point. In this menu, it would be, I believe, circle on PlayStation 2. It's the B button on my Xbox controller. So, we want 5 of those. Now we need torpedoes. I believe it's only on cruisers. Yes. On cruisers, if you use 2 or 3 barrels, you can actually put the torpedoes in the hull. You can't do that on destroyers. But we want to go with 5 barrels. That way we get maximum damage, maximum ammo. It's odd. It is behaving as if there's something in the way. Let me try smaller or fewer barrels. Alright, so I can place depth charge launchers. Might as well do that. Weird. I should be able... You know what? These torpedoes might not be able to be placed on the center line. Torpedoes follow weird rules. Because there are different styles and sizes and types of torpedoes. And some of them can't be mounted in certain specific places. There's a line. It's right here. And the only thing you can mount behind that line on ships are machine guns, searchlights, and anti-sub weaponry. I was thinking maybe there might be something about the British ships that are different. But it seems that this is just a torpedo type that can't be mounted on the center line. Can we have 3 barrels here? I can. So we'll go... Boop. And so we've got 2 torpedoes facing forward and 2 torpedoes facing to the rear. Torpedoes have an arc that's around... See, this would be 90 degrees. So what would that be? Like 160, 150, 160 degrees. So it's good to have them pointing in both directions. That way you can fire at ships as you pass them. And then machine guns. So machine guns actually really matters to have multiple barrels, since their primary objective is to shoot down incoming missiles, torpedoes, and aircraft. The more barrels you have, the faster they can shoot. So you're just trying to put as much lead in the air as you can. So we'll spread these out all along the sides of the ship. Alright. And there we have it. That was a fairly simple change, but this ship will now perform at least a bit better. And we have some weight left over. I don't want to go below 32 knots. So we'll see what we can squeeze in. Alright, so now I've gone overweight. I dropped a couple of things, though. I'll just stick with 15. We'll just take in a little bit of extra speed. So, there's two different armor types, deck and hull. Deck is to prevent damage or reduce damage from attacks coming from above. Really high-angle shots from larger artillery and bombs dropped from planes. Deck armor is not super important unless you're a carrier. If your deck armor gets destroyed, then you're more susceptible to fire. But that rarely happens, honestly, unless you're an aircraft carrier, before you die. And then hull armor reduces incoming damage from pretty much everything that doesn't come straight down. So torpedoes, missiles, close-range cannon shots, machine gun fire, that sort of thing. Alright, I'm still not going to name this ship. I still haven't thought of a theme. And it's still like the starter ship with a few improvements. So now that we've gone through all that, let's go ahead and get into the second mission.
We've received word from the scouts. The nearby enemy facility is building up its aerial forces.
We're not currently equipped to defend against a large-scale air attack. We must raid that area before they build enough strength to attack us. We have to weaken it as much as we can now. Let us organize an assault immediately. First, we take out the radar facilities along the attack route. After we've secured our rear, we destroy the base before the patrolling enemy fleet can intercept us. Reports indicate the possibility of a minefield in the surrounding waters. We will need to prepare for those as well. Your orders, sir?
Alright. After this mission, we should be able to get our third escort ship. Sometimes the escort ships are incredibly helpful, sometimes they're not. It really depends on what mission you're doing and which type of escorts you bring along.
All hands to battle stations!
Alright, so primary objective, destroy the radar. Secondary objective, destroy the port installations. I believe this mission has 5 total secondary objectives that we'll unlock as we go through. So you can see on the little cursor, there's 2 different ways that it looks. This is lock-on mode. If it's just a straight circle, you can cycle through targets, and it will lock onto them. I rarely use that. It can be helpful, but the game does not automatically lead targets for you. So depending on what type of weapon you're firing and what target you're shooting at, it might be less than effective. And then if you've got the square, then you're in free targeting mode, and it just goes wherever you point it. You can use free targeting mode to do a few little tricks. Machine guns, for example, have a very short range. If you fire them into the air, they have a longer range, as you can see. And then if you point the cursor right next to your ship, they get a really high arc, which certain weapon types can fire even farther. A lot of times they'll just go up higher and then come straight down about the same they would if you're just firing into the air manually. But it's a great way to extend your range, to shoot at targets that you can normally shoot at, particularly with these early level guns that have a very short range. Also, I suppose I neglected to mention there's 2 ways to fire. If you use the, what would it be, the X button on a PlayStation controller, you fire, let me switch to the cannons, you fire level with you. And I mean, they will have an arc, larger cannon shells will have an arc to travel farther, but in general you're firing horizontally. If you press what would be the, I believe, circle button, you fire into the air. And cannon shells like this explode, and that is to take out aircraft as they fly by, machine guns, and later on rockets, and other types of...
Cut all engines!
Well, there's a few other weapons. I'm not going to spoil those. I almost said that, but there's a few other weapon types that just arc up into the air, and they can get a longer range. Alright, so we did 5% damage to the harbor facility with that. Up here's our first radar. You know, if I do one video for every mission in the game, I think this series will be 80 or 90 videos long. With a lot of missions. There's two. Oh, I missed a radar over there. Oh well. There's two radars down here. We'll get those. And we'll. I think these are destroyers down here. We'll get those too. Oh, they're PT boats. Even easier. See, I'm going to set up my torpedoes so that my ship doesn't launch torpedoes. You can go in here to your armaments and set these weapons to auto or manual or off. By default, everything is automatic unless you're hovering over it, in which case, or sorry, actively using it, in which case it's manual. But you can change those things. Certain weapons have very limited ammunition, that sort of thing, and you want to save them, so that's why you might want to set it to manual. Typically I don't. I usually just let everything run full automatic, particularly in aircraft carriers. So I just locked the camera to my ship. I'm just messing around as we drive across, but if you click down the right thumbstick, the camera centers on your ship, and you can only move your cursor around inside the screen that's around your ship. I'm not really sure if there's any practical benefit to that, but you can do it. One more radar facility. Go hit this one.
Cut all engines. Enemy fleet sighted. Full speed ahead.
Can't wait till I get to later stuff in the game so that I can show off different shipbuilding techniques and things. That shipbuilding system is very, very deep. Lifeboats. So lifeboats are, they replenish 1% of your ship's health whenever you pick them up, and they give you a bonus. It's a small bonus, but a bonus after the mission. Mines cannot be auto-targeted. I could probably sail through without shooting any of them, but... Alright, one radar left.
Ahead.
And what's our port facilities at? 8%. Oh, ways to go on that one. Machine guns are barely touching it, so I'll wheel it down. There we go.
Full speed ahead.
So I could leave, but just like last time, we're gonna complete, at the very least, the secondary objective to destroy the harbor facilities. So we're gonna head over to the west the biggest bulk of the harbor facilities are over there. So that's where we'll wipe out the rest of that objective. Hope you dig this soundtrack. It's one of the only songs in the game. There's like 5 or 6 for a game that has easily 100 hours of content or more for a single playthrough if you really get into it. I probably played this game for more than 1,000 hours. And I probably played the entire series for 4,000 hours. There's 2 other games in the series that came to the United States. Naval Ops Warship Gunner and Warship Gunner 2. And there's a further 2 games in the series that were in Japan only. And I'm not going to try and pronounce it without the name in front of me. But Commander and its sequel, Commander 2, but it never actually received an English name, so again, I'm not going to try and pronounce it, are the only 2 like this. The other 3 games in the series are more third-person action games. I mean, you're doing the exact same stuff, but instead of controlling your ship from the top-down view, you control it from sort of third-person view, where you spin the camera around the ship and operate it that way.
Reverse engine!
I guess at sea level would be the way to say it.
Full speed ahead!
There we go, there's the harbor facilities. What's the other objectives? 60% of destroyers, 50% of cruisers. While we're here, we can take the destroyers easy. The cruisers, maybe not so much in a destroyer. At least in this level of destroyer. You can build some pretty kick-ass destroyers later on in the game with better technology, but again, this is basically the starter ship, so don't want to get in too far over our heads. Well, that's one of the cruisers. If I can get a good torpedo run on him like that, yeah, he'll get shredded.
Enemy ship sunk!
Excellent.
Enemy ship sunk!
Ooh, there.
Enemy fleet sighted!
And that's the battleship. We will not engage the battleship. One salvo could kill us at this level. If I was a little bit faster, like say 40 knots, I'd probably go after him. Right, that's the destroyers. What is this? Ah, gold box. That's just straight money.
Full speed ahead!
Alright, then we'll call it quits for this level.
We have destroyed the enemy radar and cut off the enemy's information. They should be unable to coordinate movement for a while.
Alright, so I said last time I would explain this menu. So this is a breakdown of your points acquired. Mission objectives, or points, are like experience points that level you up from different ranks, which doesn't really do anything. It just signifies that you can use better escort ships. You have more of your sort of points pool to assign to escort ships. I'll explain that a little bit better when we actually have more escort ships to add. Then this is your mission reward in terms of money. So you get a flat out points for completing mission objectives. Then you get a kill bonus. Rank bonus is your actual rank. So as you rank, I guess that's another benefit to your rank that I didn't think of. Is rank up from like ensign to captain to so on and so forth. You get bonuses for that. You get a ship bonus. The crappier your ship, the higher your bonus is. and then you get a special bonus. That is from pickups that you get in the mission. So picking up the life rafts and the gold box gave us some rewards there. And then you get XP. So XP is what's tied to your ship, your escort ships. Then over on the left, you see objectives, 80%. So we completed 4 of the 5 objectives. We sank 24% of the enemy ships, or actually we just destroyed 24% of the total targets. We had 93% of our life left, and we had 2 of our escorts left. You get huge penalties for losing escorts, so that's a bad thing. Right, and with the completion of that mission, let's check out our tech. We will do weapons. We have enough for. We do weapons and metallurgy, each one more time. Right, higher caliber 12cm guns, bigger torpedoes, bigger machine guns, a new forward bridge. Oh, we got a carrier forward bridge. That's early. New destroyer aft bridge. Destroyer 3. Fuel supply ship. So you actually have fuel that your ship uses up during the middle of the mission. And if you run out of fuel, you're limited to the lowest speed setting on your ship. And I think reverse. But fuel really only matters in survival mode. No missions last long enough unless you just sort of dawdle in order for you to run out of fuel. But in survival mode, your fuel doesn't replenish from mission to mission. So fuel supply ships are very important there. Ammo's the same thing. There are weapons that can run out of ammo in a normal mission, but it's pretty rare. Either they're the super high-level powerful weapons that only have a few shots, or they're some of the later rapid-fire weapons that just chew through ammo like there's no tomorrow. So ammo supply ships can be useful in the normal mission-to-mission gameplay, but rarely. That's more for supply mode as well, or survival mode. Alright, and that wraps us up for episode 2 of Naval Ops Commander. If you like this content and you want to see more of it, please do give me a like and a subscribe. I would very much appreciate that. If you want to follow me on Twitter so you can see all of the random things I tweet about, you can do so at JMA4707. If you want to watch me stream the occasional game on Twitch, you can do so over at twitch.tv/JArthur4707. And if you want to listen to the podcasts that I'm on, I do 2 of them. The first is Video Game Logic. It comes out every Friday at noon. The second is Straight as a Pretzel. It comes out every Sunday at some time. We don't have an established time yet. Until next time, bye-bye now.